People are rightly looking at paid repatriation as a way to get us out of the multicultural problems we're in and to stop us becoming a minority in our own lands. It's a good thing that people are trying to think out ways for humane repatriation in order to reverse the multicultural problems that we're now experiencing. The bottom line is, it isn't going to work. We don't have the money to do it. If we did, we wouldn't be prepared to pay over such large sums of money as it would take. The public, I wouldn't be prepared to be held to ransom like that, and the rest of the public wouldn't either. Now, if you look at how much you can earn in this country, well, a GDP per head is $41,000 per year. That's about £31,500 or almost £31,500 per year. In a country like in Pakistan, it's about $1.3 thousand. In Afghanistan, it's $500, and in Somalia, bringing up the rear at about $300 a year. So that's somewhere between less than 1% to about 3% of what you can earn over here. People are not going to sacrifice that massive pay differential just for a few thousand quid. And the question is then, what is 41,000 or what is £31,500 per year worth? So what lump sum would I have to give you for you to pay out to me £31,500 per year? Well, let's take an annuity rate, a generous annuity rate, given interest rates at the moment, of 3%. So I give you a lump sum, you pay over to me 3% per year. So 31,000 divided by 3%, that comes to pretty much getting on for about £1 million. £1 million is what you'd have to pay someone in order to get them to sacrifice that level of money. That sounds ridiculous to me. I can't imagine it would take £1 million to get someone to go. So let's halve it and halve it again. Well, that brings you to £250,000. Okay, £250,000 per person. Then let's take the numbers of people. The BAME, black and minority ethnic population in this country is usually estimated to be about 15% of the population, or about 10 million people. 10 million times 250,000 comes in at about £2.5 trillion. That is getting on for the total GDP of the UK for 2 years. So in order to get all those enough people to go, to tempt large numbers to go, it looks like you'd have to sacrifice everything that the country makes, everything. You wouldn't be able to, there'd be no welfare, no food, no no car, you wouldn't have anything. Everything you earn goes out the window to pay people to leave. And people are not going to do that. People are not going to take a 100% pay cut for 2 years in order to get people to get bent and get out. It won't happen. So, well, let's look at it another way. Look at the money that migrant populations send home. The fancy word for that is remittances. So Ahmed comes here, gets a job as a taxi driver every Friday, sends some money home to mum. How much is getting sent home? Well, the World Bank gives two figures, £8 billion a year, or £23.5 billion a year. I'm not sure which is right. Maybe it's somewhere between the two. So again, what is that worth? What would I have to pay you as a lump sum for you to pay me 8 billion or 23.5 billion pounds a year? Well, it's somewhere, again, on a 3% annuity rate. I give you a lump sum, you pay me 3% of it every year. That means I'd have to give you between 250 billion pounds or 750 billion pounds. That's just to replace the money that migrant populations, BAME populations, are sending back home every year. Forgetting about the money they're earning and keeping and spending on themselves. Forgetting about the welfare they're getting, the welfare fiddles. Forgetting about the benefits of living in a functioning first world society. We have roads and schools that function, police you don't have to bribe, soldiers who don't come knocking on your door asking for money, hospitals, power supply, water supply, drainage that functions, or internet that works, all of those nice things. Being able to walk down the street relatively unmolested, all things that you don't have in a third world whole. What is that worth? I think you are going, in total, including the money that people send home, there's no way you're going to get away with it at a bill of less than £1 trillion. And people are not going to pay over £1 trillion just to get people to shape up and ship out. They won't do it. There's no reason why they should be held to ransom to that extent. I wouldn't be prepared to. Now, there's another line that people say, which is other countries have good functioning paid repatriation schemes, and the one that always gets pointed to is Denmark, because it is far and away the most generous one. But no, Denmark does not have a paid repatriation scheme. What it has is a system where people of refugee status, they can get paid to get out. It's a generous scheme. The amount is generally taken to be about 140,000 kroner. That's about £17,000. But that, in fact, only applies to 2% of people who come into Denmark, of people who get residence permits. It's people of refugee background. They form 2% of total residence permits every year. And half the residence permits every year go to people of non-European background. So people of refugee background form 4% of people coming into Denmark from outside Europe. Those are the people who are eligible. It does not cover the whole of the population. You can't call that a paid repatriation scheme. Anyway, it doesn't work. People are not taking it up. The Danish government reported that in 2011, 261 people took it up. In 2015, 152 people throughout the whole of Denmark took it up. Recent figures from the municipality of Aarhus show that over the last decade, 163 people, a total of 163 people, took it up. Now, Aarhus has a total population of 350,000 people, and it is migrant heavy, it is immigrant heavy, probably between 5 and 10% of the population. Now, 163 people, that represents less than 1% of the total the migrant part of the population of Aarhus, somewhere between 0.5% and 1%. That does not scratch the surface. That is not statistically significant. And what even happened is that of those 163 people who went, 17 of them took the money and went, changed their minds and came back and said, oh, I can't give you the money back, I've spent it, sue me for it, but I've got nothing, so you won't get it back. It's a scam. And even with it being a really nice, lucrative scam, only 163 that you can change your mind about, so you can come back again. Only 163 people took it up in the whole of the Aarhus municipality. And it's not just the money, you also get a load of other benefits. You get transfer costs, you get, what other things do you get? You get purchase and transport of business equipment, travel costs, health insurance, so you get your health insured. You get help buying medicines. When you have to buy medicines, you get them bought for you. And you get your education paid for your children up to age 16. It is a generous package, and people do not take it up. It is not an example to follow. It shows that it doesn't work. That's what it shows. Now, other people say, well, we have a paid repatriation system in the UK. No, we don't. What we have is a situation where if you're a failed migrant, a failed bogus asylum seeker, you come here, you've exhausted every appeal, you've cost thousands in legal aid, and you've come to the end of the line. Your only option now is to get shipped out of the country. Then you might be offered £2,000 or £3,000 to go quietly. And it's for people who are being told, listen, you've got no option, you're going to get kicked out, we're probably going to put you in a detention centre in the meantime, where you'll probably get sodomised by fellow Muslims, so which do you want? And those people then think to themselves, well, do I want to get sodomised in a detention centre? Do I want £2,000 or £3,000? Sodomised, couple of thousand, or decisions, or I'll take the couple of £1,000, please. And then they go. That is not a paid or incentivised repatriation scheme. It seems to have been designed in order to prevent bad guys like me saying, look, there's a paid repatriation scheme. It is not. The reality is, the bottom line is, there is no paid repatriation scheme at the moment that is working. For this country, you would need to spend at least £1 trillion to get people to consider it seriously in large numbers, and the public would not be prepared to do that. They couldn't afford to, and they wouldn't if they could. They wouldn't be prepared to do that, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't be. What is necessary in order to persuade people to go in large numbers is for living conditions to nosedive, to plummet, so that people don't have a choice, so that conditions here become pretty much unlivable. That's not really something that government policy can achieve, but it is something I think we are likely to see as a result of financial breakdown, perhaps financial collapse. So cast your eyes downwards, look out below, see what happens there. That is where the cause for a repatriation scheme is likely to come.